One February 8th is fast upon us here, ladies and gentlemen, and I usually have to find a guy who usually instigates a lot of stuff. This time it's not really you this time.
I haven't instigated a thing.
You have not started anything,
Nothing.
but you're going to get started right here. Of course, I'm with Michael Cornbread Allen, the matchmaker for Fight Lab. Fight Lab 35 is coming up. I'm here to see you. You're the man in charge of all this craziness, all this beatdowns. You are geared up. You got the Scully going on there. What is that? The wrist strap?
Got the wristband.
Is that a what? No, it's not a Fight Lab watch.
It's not a Fight Lab watch.
Not
We got
yet.
those coming though.
Sweet. Can I get one of those?
No. It's unlimited supply.
You guys are cheap as hell.
We're using Joe Pacheco money to get them made.
Oh, well, he's got some cash on him. That's what I heard. I might need a ride. I might need a couple of 20s coming out of here. First fight of 2014. It's a big card, 13 fights. I think you got 4 pro fights on there, 1 title fight.
Yes.
If I'm correct, and a lot of good amateurs coming up through the ranks. You're excited for this, aren't you? I can feel the palpitations.
Man, you know, it's a great card. It's a phenomenal card, and usually I'm really amped up about the amateur side of it, but I'm really amped up this time about the pro side. The pro side is just phenomenal. So I'm really excited. We got a lot of young amateurs on the undercard. Some vets, 1 title fight like you said, but the pro side is what's going to make it different.
And it's also good just to raise up some of these guys coming up, give them a shot, especially on the amateur side. They see what these pros are going to do, 4 of these 4 pro fights like you said. But I believe it's now time. People want to hear predictions, Greg.
Oh,
are you
man,
ready for it?
The predictions. Have you got your waiver on? Is the waiver already ran across the screen?
Yeah, it'll be up there first thing. So everybody,
The disclaimer.
Don't get all upset and saying, "Oh, Brad, you didn't choose my guy." It's all on Brad, ladies and gentlemen. It's not on us. It's not on Chaz Bryant. It's not on Carolina Warrior TV. It's not actually on Fight Lab. It's not on Kenny Letts. Even though you can send Kenny Letts a notice and send him money, say, "Hey, change your pick."
Pitbossatme.com.
And half of it goes to Chaz Bryant Foundation for struggling broadcast youth. Ladies and gentlemen, I have to remind you, this is a competition, not an exhibition, so wagering is encouraged for these picks amongst your friends. And if we get some money, that's cool too. Pedro Martinez versus Curtis Ward. First fight. We haven't seen Pedro Martinez in a while. I believe. Where's he in training yet?
He's actually at Arikion
there you go.
Fighting Sports. He's got a new lease on life. He's going to be taking on a Curtis Ward, also known as the Preacher, from Superior Martial Arts out there with Roger Carroll and them. Very solid purple belt, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioner. Pedro's looking good, man. I was out at Arikion the other day out there with Wonder Bread, and he looks strong. I'm gonna have to go against the Gracie Baja family tradition, and I'm gonna have to pick against Preacher. I'm gonna go with Pedro on this one.
There you go. Before we get any further, how did Wonder Bread do? He was up at the Monster Cup yesterday.
Well,
if you can summarize it in 30 seconds for us real quick.
Good news is he didn't headbutt anyone. Bad news for the other competitors is I think Wonder Bread was 7-0 for the day and took home more hardware than Flavor Flav.
Wow.
Won both the adult divisions, gi and no gi.
I'm pretty sure you're a proud papa.
Very proud papa.
There you go. Moving on to some guys I believe who have no experience inside the cage. It's Mike Williams versus David Vincent. They both come in at 0-0. Small guys and bring around the 170 class or something to that effect. What should we expect out of these guys? Do you know anything about them?
Hey, Mike Williams, he's out of here at the dark side of MMA, the new name of the gym.
That's terrible.
Went from Renegade Fighting Systems to the dark side of MMA.
You can't have a banner up saying that.
I'm going to.
I guess it's Black History Month.
Everyone knows me. It's in reference to the Sith off of Star Wars, but if you want to take it for Black History Month, that's good too, man. We like that. So, but yeah, Mike Williams trains here out of the gym with me and my crew. Very talented, extremely talented, probably the most highly decorated wrestler that we have ever had in the Fight Lab cage.
Wow.
Probably the most highly decorated wrestler to ever compete in the state of North Carolina for mixed martial arts.
There you go.
Raw around the edges, though. Obviously, he hasn't had time to really acclimate fully to MMA, and that's why he's fighting amateur. David Vincent comes from down there with the trains down there with Moose towards Goldsboro.
Wow.
Don't know a lot about the kid. You know, he asked me to fight. He saw Mike was on the card, and for him to step up to this fight, knowing Mike's credentials as a wrestler, you know. Coming out of Brutality Incorporated down there with Moose, I have to assume that it's going to be a fight, but I'm going to go with with my guy Mike Williams.
Up here at the Dark Side MMA, I guess.
That's it.
Moving on to Tyler Geiske versus John Henning. John Henning, about 2 weeks ago, took him the Hard Play MMA title down there in South Carolina. Now he's coming up here to Charlotte, taking on Tyler Geiske. Tyler Geiske is my guy. Isn't that right?
Well, I'm not listening.
Okay, you're not listening to me. Tyler Geiske versus John Henning. That should be a good fight right there.
That's going to be a phenomenal fight, and I'm excited about it. Tyler, training at a Modern Warrior down there with the Rockstar Keith Richardson. I'm assuming because of his weight, he probably takes the majority of the punishment that Keith dishes out down there. So you know the kid's going to be tough. I'm sure his grappling is going to be on point. He looks to be in phenomenal shape from some of the pics and videos I've seen of him. On the other side of the coin, John Henning, he has a new lease on life, being out there at East Coast Fighter. The tale of the tape on John before was always that his ground game was lacking, but his striking was on point. And now he's out there with Paulo Mushu, one of the top professors in my opinion in the Southeast. And it's going to be a war. My heart says to go with Tyler, but I'm going to go with East Coast Fighter and John Henning.
I'm not going to get mad at you.
You can't get mad at me because you're the one making me do this. You only give me one mulligan.
I told you three. I told you three. You said we set a date before.
I was going to pick Tyler on that fight until you wouldn't give me three mulligans.
Seriously,
I really was.
I gave him three. Before this whole thing started, I said, you going to give me three mulligans, Chess? Yeah, I'll give you three mulligans. Go ahead, Brett. Now he's saying, now he wants to do this take back things. No, I gave him three, but he's going, but you heard him, John Henning. He's going John Henning. He can't go back now.
I can change my pick.
No, you can't.
Okay, I can't. I'm going John Henning.
John Henning.
John Henning, the hard play champion.
You might have some obvious.
Is Tyler even going to show up? He's the hard play champion.
Is Tyler going to show up? Yeah.
Even though the guy's
I'll make him.
Okay.
Even though.
All right.
Regardless of that fact.
Okay. I know I will.
Rodney Jordan comes in at 0-3 inside the cage. He's going against Jose Davila. I believe if I'm pronouncing that correct. What do we know about? Well, Rodney's right behind us somewhere. Training, doing some stuff.
Yeah. Rodney's from here at the Dark Side MMA. He's my Sith apprentice, one of my top students. And Jose Davila trains out there with my partner in crime, Roger Carroll, out of Superior Martial Arts, and we look forward to some good, friendly competition. Usually, I've never done this. Usually, I would pick my guy just for the sake of it. But because Rodney Jordan is back here throwing kicks and just looking absolutely foolish doing it, I'm going to go with Jose Davila to whip his ass. I hope somebody kicks him upside his head with all this foolishness I'm seeing back here in the back.
Hey, brother, let me tell you something. My guy's going to come in good. Is that a pretty good?
That was a horrible. That was horrible.
It sounded more like my.
That was a mockery more than an imitation.
It sounded more like my Obama than anything else.
That's horrible.
Caleb Busey comes in at 2-2 inside the cage versus Patrick Ward. I believe Patrick at 3-2 was competed, if not won, the title for USFFC, if I can actually pronounce it correctly. Now he's coming in here to the Fight Lab cage. I believe this is his second time.
This is his second time. He is the USFFC middleweight champion. He came in on our last show and fought for our middleweight title unsuccessfully against Igor Tatarnov.
Igor's tough.
Patrick Ward is as tough as they come, man. He's got a chin. He throws big punches. His ground game, that's the one area I think he sort of lacks at. Caleb Busey, one of my favorite fighters, man. This kid's just a success story. I think he started off at 0-2 or something, and he's ran his record back up to 2-2. He's even. Again, he trains out there at Paulo Mushu, an East Coast Fighter, one of my favorite schools. Got a lot of respect for those guys, and I'm going to have to go with Caleb in this. I love Patrick to death. I think he's an awesome guy, but I think he's going to walk out 0-2 in the Fight Lab cage.
That's unfortunate. We'll see how it turns out. But Ryan Jett steps inside the Fight Lab cage versus Donald Heath. If I'm pronouncing that, Donald Heath Jr. What do we know about these guys? I know you just said Donald. Ryan actually trained here with you guys.
Yeah, Ryan Jett. I'll get to Ryan in a minute. Ryan's a character, but Donald Heath, don't know a lot about this guy. He hit me up. He was scheduled to fight Sergio Inostroza. Had some medical issues with Sergio and the commission, so had to switch some things up, and so Donald's going to come up here. I do know he trains with Team Rock out of Greensboro. Always a solid group of guys. Anytime you hear that name Rock, Team Rock, you know the guys are going to come prepared. Ground's going to be solid. Striking's going to be solid. Cardio's going to be solid. And we're looking forward to a good fight with him. Ryan Jett, you heard it from me, guys. This is the next Ricky Rainey. That's all I'm going to say.
Wow. We're just going to end it right there.
That's all I'm going to say.
We're just going to end it right there. You got Joshua Nichols coming in versus Derek Wells. Right now, Nichols is at 0-4, trying to get his first win versus Derek Wells, who has one win inside the cage. What experience, what gives right here?
You know, Derek Wells come into our last card, and to be honest with you, I made the matchup not knowing much, not knowing anything about him, and not knowing a lot about his opponent, except his opponent was well thought of in some pretty reputable circles in the MMA community. And just from what I gathered from his opponent, I didn't think that Derek probably stood much of a chance. But he trains down there with Eric Stevens and Josh Stewart down there at Stand Up MMA, and he came in and, man, he made a impression on me. This kid, I feel very strongly, if he continues to improve from what I saw last time, Derek Wells is probably going to be fighting for the Fight Lab lightweight title, which carries a lot of reputation with it over the course of the next year, I would say. On the other side, Josh Nichols, man, he's the best 0-4 fighter you've ever seen. I mean, this guy, he fights hard, he trains hard out there for Roger Carroll at Superior Martial Arts. He's one of my good friends. He's one of my favorite fighters. His son, Easy, is going to be, you watch, his son, Easy, is going to be in the UFC one day, if he chooses to be. With all that being said, I just don't think Josh is going to have enough to hold Derek Wells off of him. Sure. Derek Wells is tenacious. His takedowns are on point. Some of the best wrestling takedowns I've seen in the cage in a long time from an amateur. I'm going to have to go with Derek Wells.
There you go. You got Albert Revels at 1-1 going against Brian Buzzsaw Harris at 2-1. I believe this is Buzzsaw's first time inside the Fight Lab cage, if I'm correct. I believe he trains up there around the Greensboro, Winston-Salem area.
Yes.
I made that all up. And you agreed with it.
Well, that's the truth. That's where he trains. You made it up. You're good, man, because that's where he trains.
I research.
Buzzsaw Harris, I don't know a lot about the guy, but I know if your nickname's Buzzsaw, you better bring it. Yeah, you got to be a killer. I hope you're a killer. If you're not a killer, I'm gonna laugh at you. I'm really gonna put you on blast after the fight.
He likes puppy dogs and long walks on the beach.
Yeah, hey, maybe he does. And I'm not against puppy dogs and long walks on the beach, but I am against it if you're gonna get in the cage and fight like it. So I gotta assume him coming from Eric Stevens' gym, again, Stand Up MMA, that he's gonna be prepared. Everybody they've ever brought up here has been super tough. By the way, I want to give a compliment if I hadn't already. Eric Stevens is doing a phenomenal job down there in Winston-Salem, Greensboro area of developing good guys. Every time they bring somebody down here, they're just tough as nails. With that being said, on the other side of the coin, Albert Revels, he's probably our oldest competitor. If not, he definitely has the...
Is he older than you?
Yes, I think he's older than me. I'm not 110% sure, but I think if he's not, he looks older than me. Sort of like Kenny Lenz. But Wayne Revels has a big right hand. I mean, he will knock you into next week. If you sleep on his punching power, you're making a big mistake. Brian Buzzsaw Harris coming from Stand Up MMA, I'm assuming this is probably going to be fight of the night. For my pick, though, I'm going to go with the dad, the husband, the father. I'm going to go with Wayne Revels on this.
Wow, there you go. Picking up the win. That's good to hear. Somebody who's hoping to pick up a title belt will be either Ivan Grijalva or Trey Singleton at the end of the night. This is a big matchup right here. Stop whistling and make a pick.
Man. Wow. This is going to be good. I mean, this is going to be good. Ivan Grijalva, Rickion Fighting Sports.
Yep.
Probably the most vicious knockout I've ever seen in amateur MMA. His knockout of James Ronzik, I think it was at Fight Lab 30 at the Silver Hammer. Just a ball of fury and fire. His wrestling was already good. Now he's at a Rickion Fighting Sports. His ground game was already good. Now he's at a Rickion Fighting Sports and doing his jiu-jitsu with Steve Hall. He has striking power. He has punching power. His reflexes are on point. For a bantamweight, he's hard to pick against. On the flip side of that coin, you got Trey Singleton. And I've said this about Trey for the last year, from the first time he stepped in the Fight Lab cage at 18 years old against Derek Hyatt. After that fight, I was sold. And he has managed to time and time again walk down that aisle, get to the cage, and everybody in the crowd laughs at him because he looks like a little kid. and next thing you know, your ass is grass. And I mean, that's just the easiest. That's the most simple way to put it. I mean, I've watched him do it to boxers. I've watched him do it to jiu-jitsu guys. I've watched him do it to guys that are bigger than him, guys that are faster than him, guys with more experience than him, and he's hard to pick against. So I'm super excited about this. So I'm gonna use my mulligan.
Do you have 3 mulligans or the one? So you're going to take.
I'm gonna use my 3.
I'm going to offer the gift back of 3 mulligans for you again. So you're going to use it on this one. That's fine. That's cool with me because now we're getting inside the portion, the money makers right here, the pro side of the card. And you already used up 2 of your mulligans.
Wait a minute. Can I take that mulligan?
No, you cannot. What's done is done. It's recorded. I'm not editing anything out. That's the only thing I don't want to do today.
Okay.
Just edit. It's Super Bowl Sunday.
All right, go ahead.
So we're moving to the pro side of the card. We have Joseph Carroll. He's around here lurching around. He's waiting for this big pick as he takes on Charles Nutt. Tell us a little bit something about Charles Nutt that we don't know.
The dark side of MMA versus our old nemesis when we were Renegade, the Murder Squad. I mean, you don't get no better than this, man. But anytime our gym goes against the Murder Squad, you can count on there's going to be 2 athletes that want to win. Mm-hmm. There's going to be 2 athletes that don't want to lose to each other. There's going to be 2 athletes that's trying to take each other's heads off. And there's going to be 2 athletes that are skilled, in shape, and ready to fight. So I'm super excited about this. I love coaching against those guys. I love it when our guys compete against them. I think, I'm not sure about the count because I actually don't keep track of that stuff, but I think they got the edge on us as far as win-loss. I think they're one of the few teams that we don't have the edge on as far as head-to-head competition. Charles Nutt is actually the Murder Squad, one of their grappling and wrestling instructors. And Joey El Dingo Loco Carroll, his jiu-jitsu speaks for itself. He trains most of his jiu-jitsu and grappling here with me. He's in here in a gym full of pros and just ridiculous amateur athletes. I'm biased. I don't mind to make the pick. El Dingo Loco is going to put him to sleep.
There you go. I like to hear it. Cody Wilson against Matthew Messer. I think this is Matthew's second pro fight he's going against. Cody Wilson, he's pretty good down there at Team Revolution.
Man. Wow. Matt Messer, I have no idea. What's his pro record? 0-1?
He's 0-1 right now.
He's 0. I have no idea how he could be 0-1, and I have no idea how he could be at 500 winning percentage as an amateur because he's came up here and trained with us at the dark side of MMA before when we were Renegade. For MMA, man. He reminds me of Matt Brown, the immortal Matt Brown. He comes forward. He doesn't mind to get hit. He's impossible to knock out. He has cinder blocks for hands, and his jiu-jitsu is at a high purple belt level. How the guy loses, I don't know, but somehow he manages to do it, so I guess it's really irrelevant what I think. Cody Wilson, on the flip side of that, is identical. It's identical. It's the same thing. He doesn't mind to get hit. He has cinder blocks in his hands and his feet. His grappling is very, very good down there with my good friend Jimmy Fowler. And he's surrounded by the likes of Justin Scoggins, Jared Scoggins, Sarah McMahon, Dave Linder, Jimmy Fowler. I mean, he's down there with some of the best in this area. And when you've got a team like that, sometimes that's the variable that'll give the athlete the push. And so I've got to go with Cody Wilson.
Yeah, that's a hit squad down there.
It is, man. Those guys are beasts.
Taking a look at Leo Danger Perez. I believe he steps the first time inside the Fight Lab cage, this time as a pro, versus Ryan Hall. Ryan Hall is phenomenal.
Phenomenal.
Grappling. You got to pick something here.
Man, I tell you what, I've known Leo Perez since he was 17 years old. Him and his teammate Cody Gully, back when I was with Team Husky, they were just coming in.
They had to be young kids.
Yeah, they were young, man. They were just, again, they were kids. This is three years ago, I think. And when they first came into the gym, it was pretty much a unanimous decision as far as myself and Johnny Husky and some of the elder guys of the team like Johnny Buck and Adam Dehart and Blaine Thomas. We knew that both those guys were going to be champions. The only thing we needed to work on was just cool nicknames. I think they came up with Danger and Juicebox.
Yeah,
Juicebox.
I like Juicebox.
Cody, Juicebox Cody. So they got the nicknames. Leo Perez, phenomenal striker, does a very good job of using his length, his wrestling. He trains up there with Chris Sawtell. who's one of the top boxers to come out of the area. He trains his jiu-jitsu up there with Footlock Brad, named unanimous here in Charlotte. He trains with Chad McFadder for his wrestling, former Old Dominion All-American. And I mean, he's got a complete package of training partners. And he, at the same time, the kid wants to be successful. I mean, he doesn't care about getting hurt. He's reckless as far as his body. He's a tough kid, man. And I think that the world is his to lose. On the flip side of that, Ryan Hall, Triangle Kid, 50-50 man, whatever you want to call him, man. He is what he is. He's one of the best in the world. He's one of the best in the world. Let that sink through your skulls. The best in the world. You want to believe some hype? Believe that shit, because he is one of the best in the world. I can't say it enough. I'm gonna say it one more time. He is one of the best in the world. But this is where the problem may lie. He's one of the best in the world on the ground in sports jiu-jitsu. This is not sports jiu-jitsu, okay? You know, he's making efforts to make sure that his striking is on point. He's up at TriStar with GSP and Rory McDonald training at TriStar. I mean, you can't get any better training than that. Is it going to be enough to be able to step into a cage and fight a young kid who just doesn't give up about his jiu-jitsu? I mean, Leo Perez is going to walk into that cage and he's going to punch Ryan Hall in his face. How Ryan Hall reacts to that is what's going to determine how this fight goes. The first 2 minutes of this fight is going to be so critical. And as much as I think Ryan Hall should just be able to overwhelm Leo Perez, I'm going to go against the grain here, and I'm going to pick Leo Perez to score a knockout in the third round.
Yeah, it's so much. When you take a look at this, just like you said, you can be the best in the world in jiu-jitsu on the ground with the gi and everything like that, but once you start getting hit in the face, those hits and those kicks and everything starts coming at you, that sort of equalizes all that world championships and titles and all that other stuff. So I'm very interested, like you said, to see this.
Yeah, now I'm hoping that my pick, because
you can't take it
the
back
reason I'm doing this because my secret idea is that Ryan will see this video, he'll get mad when I pick him up at the airport, he'll want to bring me in here and roll me up and teach me something.
Well, it might work for you.
It might. But if I get my arm broke or something, are you going to take over and announce for me?
I don't see that happening. I just don't see that happening. Keith Richardson will fight a bear on Saturday night.
And will win.
Make sure you have a lot of vodka for the bear. A lot of changes for poor Keith. It's just sort of got to laugh. He's right now tentatively scheduled to fight Charles Rosa out of Florida. He's 6-0 right now.
Yes, the fighting chef.
Yeah. Keith right now is coming off loss with the XFC about a couple of months ago. What do we know about Charles Rosa?
Well, I mean, you know, there's some people, so like what we was talking about with Ryan Hall, there's some people that it just is what it is. Yeah. When you say Charles Rosa, 2 years ago, he's just another fighter. When you say Charles Rosa in 2014, he trains at ATT. You know, he trains with some of the best in the world. I'll say that again. The best in the world. Sort of like CM Punk. If he don't tell me a nickname, I may announce him as Charles, the CM Punk Rosa. I don't think I'll do it. But anyways, he trains at ATT down at Coconut Creek. He's always surrounded by top-notch guys. A couple of his fights I saw where he was actually cornered by former WC featherweight champion Mike Brown. And when you're in a room with like what they got at ATT, like I said before, sometimes that's the variable that can just push you over. On the flip side of that coin, Keith Richardson, the rock star, what more do I need to say about him? You know, I love the guy. I manage him. He's actually your coach, grappling instructor. And Keith really has a complete package. He is the best 10-5 fighter that I know. He's had some ups and he's had some downs. Unfortunately for him, they continue to be close together, and that's what really is holding him back from getting to that next level. A win against Charles Rosa means the world to a Keith Richardson, especially coming off of a loss, the XFC. To be able to walk in there and beat a guy that's 6-0, trains at ATT, that would mean the world for a guy like Keith. Now, going back to Charles, he's skilled. He trains with top-notch training partners. He's got top-notch trainers. But unlike what we was talking about with Cody Wilson, I just don't think that the skill set is there. You know, he's a wrestler. He wrestled at Johnson & Wales University. His striking, you know, he likes to let his hands go. His ground game, you know, I've seen a couple times where he finished with some good guillotines and anaconda chokes. But when I look at the skill sets, when I say striking, who's got the edge, grappling, who's got the edge, cardio, who's got the edge, strength, all that stuff, I just don't see where Charles Rosa is better than Keith. Not to mention he hasn't fought the competition Keith has. I think Charles Rosa, with that 6-0 record, his opponent's record that he beat was like 14-35.
Yeah.
You know, he's not stepped in there with the Bam Bam Rogers and the Jared Cards that Keith has. I'm gonna have to go with the hometown favorite, the Rockstar Keith Richardson. I think he's gonna set the Charlotte crowd on fire with another victory.
And I was going to say, the last time Keith hasn't lost inside the Fight Lab cage since he fought El Dingo Loco.
And that was
here.
a long time ago. That was 2007 or
I was gonna
2008.
say Keith right now is like 3-1 or 4-1 inside this Fight Lab
Yeah.
cage, so he's going to definitely have that hometown crowd on his side. Plus, I'm in there with him too. So
That's really an unfair advantage for you to be in the building.
I was going to say I'm going to have to take a step back working with Keith so much. Just you know, buddy, I think he got the skill set.
Yeah, you know, Keith, man, he's, you know, the one variable that I'll throw in there that I have to wonder how it's going to play
And Tyler
is Keith.
too, by the way.
Oh yeah, and Tyler. But the one thing I got to throw in there about Keith that I question will it have an effect on him is the change. I mean, he's been through so much to get this opponent. He was originally, I forget, I don't even remember who he was supposed to fight first.
It was
Justin Dalton. Actually, wait a minute, no, he was scheduled to fight somebody before Justin Dalton. I just can't remember who it was. And then it went to Justin Dalton, and Justin Dalton
fighting in Jersey or
was
something.
supposed to fight in Jersey and took that fight. Then he was supposed to fight Shane Crenshaw, which really had the Charlotte MMA community just, man, everybody was excited.
Yeah.
William Johnson actually did a good-looking poster.
It
was messed up, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was the first time ever that William Johnson ever made a good look.
Yeah, William Johnson done like 20 posters, and all of them suck except this one.
Except that one time.
And then Crenshaw, you know, which you can tune into Kenny Letz's Fight Lab Crenshaw Chronicles to see what happened there. I'm not even going to go into it because I'm going to sit back and watch the shenanigans with Crenshaw and Kenny. That's going to be great. But Crenshaw, you know, pulls some shenanigans, and the powers to be say get rid of him, and then in comes this kid who's undefeated, Charles Rosa. And it doesn't matter what his opponent's records are, and it doesn't matter if he's fought anybody or not. He's undefeated. He's 6-0. He's on the watch. He's on the radar for some of the big promotions, and Keith's got to step in there and go through that. So, you know, Keith's pretty mentally strong, former Marine. I've never seen him back down from a challenge, and I've never seen him go into it without thinking that he can win. So I think personally, like I said, he'll step up to the challenge and he'll walk out of there victorious. But man, I would not want to have to be him going through all this.
Yeah, and he's like I said, like you said, he's pretty mentally game up for it, so he should be good. I'm not giving any insight about all that other stuff going on.
Yeah.
But if you want to find out what happens, February 8th at the Grady Cole Center. Get your tickets. No matter what happens, it's going to be a great night. Hopefully your champion, your fighter wins. I'll be there regardless because I'm contractually obligated to be there, unfortunately. You'll be there.
He will be there.
Yeah, I know. Somebody will have to come down to the house and drag me out of my bed up here for weigh-ins the day before,
all
the morning
that foolishness.
before, all the silliness. You'll be there because you have to be.
Yeah, it's the only reason.
Yeah, I could care less about the fights. I'm just there to see the girls.
No, I didn't say that.
The Fight Lab
I didn't
girls.
say that.
Yeah.
No.
Well, get your ticket. There are going to be some great fights. Anything you want to say before we skedaddle?
Hey guys, be there. Once again, a great night of fights. Great opportunity for Charlotte, the city of Charlotte, to come out and see the local and regional MMA at its best. 13 fights, 2 professional fights. We also got 2 jiu-jitsu matches in the cage. Speaking of jiu-jitsu, we're going to have the Triangle Kid Ryan Hall co-main event, El Dingo Loco, the Rockstar Keith Richardson, Leo Danger Perez, the Masher Matt Messer, and Cody Wilson, all in the pro pro card, we got amateurs, we got title fights, we got ring girls, we got cupcakes, we got butt cakes, we got everything hanging out. We got Fireball whiskey. You got to be there to get any of it. We'll see you tomorrow, next Saturday, February 8th.
I want those cupcakes.
See you guys.
Peace.